G'day, ladies and gents, and welcome back to War Thunder. I hope you enjoyed the intro. I just couldn't help making that myself, and just when I got the kill, I was thinking about that, and you know what? Screw it. Let's go all the way. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Cybertruck with two recoilless rifles on it. Yes, that's right. The R3 T106 FA? Yes. Well, this particular thing is strange. It's extremely niche, and one of the best bits about this is the meme capability. It kind of looks like the Cybertruck. It also kind of looks like a mouse droid, and it's one of the most odd vehicles in the game. It's extremely, extremely specialized. Well, not as specialized as some other vehicles, but it is specialized in being sneaky. You see, this thing is absolutely tiny compared to some of the other armored vehicles in this game. It is actually more comparable to a tiny, tiny little Semavente like the L3. It is a lot smaller than you think. You think you see it on screen and like, oh, it's not that big. You know, there are some small vehicles in the game, but it's smaller than an RU-251. And the RU-251, it's not exactly small, but it's certainly not what we would consider big. It's smaller than a Centurion. This thing is about the size of a regular family car. And it's pretty fun. Good things do really come in small packages. And they come with a double barrel 106mm HESH slinging shotgun. Not only that, but they come in at 60 to 70 kilometers per hour, 80 if you're really pushing it. And this thing, honestly, I have mixed feelings about it. The gameplay you'll see in the background is one in a million, to be honest, because honestly, it's insane. The stuff that I managed to do, I don't know how I did it. I just either got really, really lucky, the map was right, and a lot of the time you'll find that this tank, you just don't get a lot of endurance out of it. It's not a long endurance tank. It's meant to be a sort of get in, get your damage done, get your caps, and then die and move on to CAS or move on to an MBT or a medium tank or something of that sort. And for me, that gameplay isn't really fun. I mean, it's interesting at some points, but it's perfect for those people that want to get into CAS early. And honestly, Italy has some pretty good CAS at 7.3 with the Vampire. It's probably some of the best CAS in the game, in fact, for its BR. I really, really enjoy playing something like the Vampire because it's just an all-around really good fighter. And then it's got the ordnance to match. It's got the RP3s. And you get to face the, I guess, Centurions and T29s and Pershings with light roof armor. But we're not going to be doing any of that today. We're going to be doing 100% of the battle on the ground, and you can see that I've gone deep behind enemy lines. The reason why I want to do this is because I do not want a single head-on engagement in this vehicle. You can see I've scouted a couple of targets. It does have some scouting ability. I'm taking a quick look around. I can see there's a Sherman Firefly over there, and there's an M47 a little bit off to my left. You'll see it pretty soon. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be a little bit sneaky. You see, this thing for me is spaded, and so I have a decent rangefinder about me. So instead of taking the shot, I'm going to use my rangefinder, which you can probably bind in your settings if you don't have it, and 800 meters is the selection. I'm going to select a single gun, so I use a single HESH round in order to conserve my ammunition, and then I'm going to take the shot. Boom. There's more where this comes from. I don't know how I managed to get these kills, but this is absolutely hilarious. I've never, ever done this in the R3 before, and honestly, I don't really like the R3 because it's so short endurance. I like things that you can stay alive in all game, and there's the second kill using the rangefinder. I'm just dumbfounded at this point. I don't really know what to do. I'm just sitting there just absolutely amazed. So, after gathering myself, I decide to go back to the cap because that's the most logical thing to do. Your opponent has 3 caps, and what I want to do there is dislodge it from them. Now, my team is actually fairly good here, and that's one of the things that you need in German teams, you often find that they're subpar for some reason. I really don't know what it is. Part of me believes it's because of the lack of medium and light tanks on the German side. It's certainly not due to a lack of CAS or SPAA, because you have plenty of good options on every single side of the coin, except maybe the Soviets. Although, the SU-5, I think it is a fairly good pick. I can't remember what it is. It's the one with the 37s and the radial engine and the RBS 132s, something like that. I'm not quite sure. Someone will tell me in the comments. But yeah, time to make this thing an absolute speedy boy, because it is a Cybertruck, and I wish it had an electric engine because it would have way better acceleration. But it doesn't really matter, because this thing is absolutely, it's so fast, and I can get into positions that I want really early and really easily. So I've found plenty of situations where I've just managed to surprise my enemy just by being in a position that they didn't expect. Now, I'm going to go on the enemy side of this set of houses, because I'm going to make sure that there's no one around me before I make my way to the cap circle. I don't like being shot in the back, and you can see there is an AMX 50. I just quickly check to the house, and then I take my shot. Now, I'm pretty confident that I'm going to get this, and I do. I hit between the road wheels and explode the ammunition right underneath. HESH is really, really funny. It's weird, and honestly, I don't know. I don't feel like it's properly modeled. I feel like it was better modeled in patch 1.69, and I think it was 171 as well, but I'm not quite sure. Anyway, we're going to go on to the B cap, and the B cap for me is one of the important caps. You see, it sits between A and C, and so gives you a bit of leverage. So if you have A and B for and B, for example, you can take both. You can pretty easily move on to C, because you've got control roughly between those two caps. You don't need to worry about anyone coming in from behind or to the side or whatever. And you can see that with the R3, you can kind of throw that away. Kind of. But you see, I came from my friendly side, and so this is the best route to attack on Maginot Line. I think now that Maginot has been in the game for a while, it actually has evolved and developed to be a really decent, all-round, nice map. It's just nice. Everyone's found the meta. It just seems to work. And you can see there that, that IS-4M there is wanting a little bit of HESH. But remember, the IS-4 is a very heavy tank. And HESH doesn't really do anything for the IS-4. But he's looking at me. Pull back. Yep, I'm not going to go for that. And you can see that I've actually run out of half my ammunition. I don't have ammunition for one of my barrels. But he's burning, and he's not putting the fire out, so I'm going to guess that he doesn't have FPE. I am, therefore, going to just sit behind this house and wait till he burns out. But you can see he's only just starting to lose crew members now, so I may have to make a run for it, or may have to make a move. He's getting closer. And there he goes. Oh, God. The weird stuff that happens in this tank, armored car, whatever the hell you want to call it, the Cybertruck with the 2 recoilless rifles, I find it hilarious. I find it just really entertaining, because it's just one of the most ridiculous vehicles in the game. And not because it's good. I honestly don't think it's that great. I think it's annoying at most. Annoying to play and annoying to play against. Because if you shoot one, or if he misses his first shot, then, he's still got the second one. But, if you miss, then, there's potentially 2 shots he can get into you. He's super fast, super maneuverable. But at the same time, the light armor means you're susceptible to 50 cals. And at this battle rating, you've also got the Falcon, the ZSU-57-2, and you've also, nearby at battle rating 8.0, you have the M163 VADS and the Sergeant York. You've also got the Shilka, the Kapard, the Type 87, the Chieftain Marksman. You've also got the BMP-2 at 8.3. So plenty of people and plenty of vehicles that are absolutely more than happy to feast on your flesh. You've also got the AMX-30 with the 20mm coax. And then you've also got planes. So yeah, there's plenty to be scared about in this plane, in this vehicle. There we go. Losing my words. It's one of those things that's just really, really weird. It's super niche, and some people love it, some people hate it. It's not really my style, but at the same time, if you can position yourself where you're not going to get engaged head on, then you have a really, really easy time, because this thing is not meant at all to see an MBT head on. You do that, you are good as dead. You can see here that this smoke cloud I'm seeing is a little bit frisky, and it turns out to be a Conway. Now, I've gotten good with the aiming, and you can see I managed to take out that Conway in a single shot. Now, there are some things that you do have to be wary of. HESH is not reliable. It's very finicky. Anything above its penetration, obviously it won't pen. It's better penning at angles, so maybe instead of aiming for the flat side, you should be aiming for the top instead, or close to the turret roof. That way you won't be bouncing as much. Not only that, but you have to be extremely wary of spaced armor. The amount of times I've shot, say, a chieftain or a centurion in the side, and Mike Goes Boom's best friend, the side skirts, have gotten in the way. It really, oh man, it can make you a little bit salty. Like, you take the Orange Doom, multiply them by about 5,000, and that's how salty you can potentially get. And yeah, that's pretty crazy. So, what I'm going to do next is probably go for the C-cap. And I thought, should I? And here's exactly the interesting bit, right? If you go to take the C-cap, you can take it from 2 points. 3 if you're in my spot. But the best ones are from the north and from the south. They're the general ones. On Maginot, am I going to take it from the north? Am I going to comb through the north and take those caps where I need them? Or am I going to, circle back and come back through the way that my allies have gone through? And honestly, I think the better one is the former. You basically clear out the enemies from behind, because you'll probably have some allies that come through from the south side. So by clearing it out, you stop any reinforcements, you get better shots from behind instead of frontal engagements. And remember, the R3 is not for frontal engagements at all. You look at a tank head on, you probably deserve to die. And you probably will die, because 9 out of 10 times, they'll have something that can penetrate you. Unless they're reloading, or they're, I don't know, the low tier AA, like the British low tier AA that has like 4mm of penetration. It's terrible. I've actually tried that thing, and it is goddamn terrible. So that is an IS-3. Unfortunately, he's too far for the radar. So what I'm going to do is of course, I've bound a couple of buttons to my mouse, or not to my mouse, to my keyboard rather, and I've allowed myself to bind a single gun to a single button. And I wish there was, a successive fire option, so you click once and then you click again. But honestly, I don't really think it matters too much, to be honest. So the Object 120 that I was looking at, and I actually scouted it along with the IS-3, has died. And now I get this beautiful, beautiful shot that you saw in the intro. Holy shit. HESH can be some of the most fun ammunition to play with, but at the same time, it can be so unreliable. So when it works, it bloody works. And it works beautifully. But when it doesn't work, it's Orange Doom times 5,000. So, I can see my Canonian Jagdpanzer friend is in a bit of trouble, and it looks like he's being engaged by an M46. I thought that was the M46 there, so I'm like, oh, cool. But I see a little bit of a cage, and I hesitate, and I stop, which I probably shouldn't. I probably should have kept going, because the biggest strength in the R3 is its speed, obviously, because it's got no armor. And whilst the gun isn't stabilized, you can still get yourself into a position where they're not really expecting. I don't know what the hell that King Tiger was doing, but I guess he managed to put him down. So That's all good and well, and being a light tank, of course, you don't only get scouting, but you can also repair your friendlies, which is other light tanks as well, and you can see the sheer scale of the Kanonen Jagdpanzer versus the R3. It's tiny. It is absolutely minuscule compared to it. And so, you can always use terrain to your advantage, but at the same time, you have certain things that are to your disadvantage. You won't be able to break walls and trees and fences. It's honestly some of the most annoying shit I've ever had to deal with. So, unless you're in a really good mood, honestly, I don't recommend using this vehicle at all. I would recommend, if you've got a clear head and maybe you're feeling a little bit memey, that's when I would go for it. I wouldn't go for it if I'm stressed or stuff, because this is a really tough vehicle to play. It's not easy by any stretch of the imagination. And that's simply because it's so lightly armored. And because it's also so difficult to play. The HESH can be unreliable. You only have 10 shots. I completely forgot to mention, you only have 10 shots. And so, are you going to do double barrel shots where you only have their 5 shots? Are you going to try and spare it and risk the HESH not being decent? That makes it all worth it, though. That is, it just really, really butters my parsnips when I can just get a shot like that. And it doesn't matter what gun that is, anything with a low velocity, anything like the Brumbear, the KV2, the R3 with the 106, the Type 60, which has the same array of guns. Oh my word, you can get some crazy stuff. And it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful just watching that shell fall and then, sink onto your enemy. I've gotten so many kills in this match, and it's just extremely abnormal. I honestly don't remember seeing many games at all where an R3 gets many kills. A couple of times I've squatted with my mate Cavenub. He's insane though, and he managed to get a couple of 6Ks, but he died. So, the thing is with the R3, don't worry if you die, don't play those frontal engagements, and you should be right. It's not a tank that you can just go and face check everything. You need to be sneaky, you need to be tactical, you need to work with your team, and often with a German team, they're going to collapse right in front of your goddamn eyes, because that's what German teams do best. They go one spawn and out, or, refuse to do anything useful at all. It's incredible, but when you pull this off, it is just insanely fun, and it is just so incredibly, funny. It's just hilarious. I just sat around laughing at every single kill that I got and going, oh my god, what have I pulled off? I'm getting so lucky. And that's part of it. Part of it is just luck. You need to get a situation where your opponents aren't going to look at you. And Maginot Line, for me, worked perfectly. The map is not designed to be, a corridor shooty type map. It's designed to be really open. And this is where the R3 thrives. In close quarter engagements on rolling hill maps that aren't really designed with, choke points in mind. You can't be around those choke points because you will die unless you're in an Overwatch position. But then you better be close because of the low velocity. Regardless, the R3 is probably one of the more interesting vehicles in War Thunder, and honestly, I'd give it a go if I were you, because it's great. But anyway, ladies and gents, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. Take care, and I'll catch you next time.